Hey, whoa, 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 whoa. Wait, whoa, what? Wait. Huh. Hmm. This seems new and interesting. Finally, after months and months, you're finally getting a video on this channel. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. For those who don't know me, my name is 𝗁𝗍 Henshin. I am your mercenary of fortune, coming to you live from the year 2285, and this is something different. I've decided that we've already done about 3 different Nintendo Live Reacts on the channel, and I do believe it is time for us to kind of pursue a little something different, because for those of y'all who don't know, there is a Nintendo Direct coming this Friday. I don't know how you wouldn't know that, but you know, sometimes people don't know what's going on around. But anyway, that's beside the point. Today, here on the channel, we are starting to do predictions. So I am doing a video right now to predict what is coming here in the upcoming Direct. And before we begin, I feel like I need to address the elephant in the room. Henshin, how do you not already know what's going to be in the Direct? And the answer is because we've only engineered the time feed to pull from 2025. We have not been able to pull from anything in the future or in the past, so as time flows in your timeline and our timelines, basically I can only pull the same data y'all have. So I am looking at this as well as you have as a fan, as someone who does not know what the future holds, because again, all records were destroyed after the year 2100 when the nukes fell. So there is not really anything we pull from, so I'm just as much as the dark as you are. Now, before we begin, I will state that the way we're going to go about this is we're going to go into 3 different categories. We're going to talk about the confirms, which means what we pretty much know is going to happen at the Direct, the possibles, which may or may not happen depending on what knowledge we have, and finally, the unlikelies, aka the things that more than likely will not happen, but it's pretty much wishful thinking, and also because I'd love to see it. So let's go ahead and get started with the pretty much confirmed. Starting off, I think it's a given, Metroid Prime 4 is coming. Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, we're finally getting a release date, and if I had to speculate the release date, I would probably say late November, early December. This is going to be your Christmas seller. So I do believe that it is going to be definitely a big deal. A lot of people have been waiting for this game for a very long time. I myself am not the biggest Metroid fan, but I loved Metroid Prime when I played it on the GameCube. And pretty much I thought, oh yeah, this is pretty sweet. Like, I've toyed with 2 and 3, and I thought those were pretty good as well. But I myself, while I am not the biggest fan, if I were to get Metroid Prime 4, I know I would enjoy the hell out of it, because it is very much a suspenseful but very action-packed game. And I am very much a sucker for anyone with an arm cannon mounted to their arms. So Metroid and Mega Man are like my biggest, yeah. Though I would probably put Mega Man over Metroid, because we haven't gotten a proper Mega Man games in years, Capcom. Why you no listen? I almost got myself. But regardless, I think that is going to be the big crux of this Direct. I do believe it will be Metroid Prime 4. That is obviously a given what will be shown. And I also do believe everyone's talking about the 40th anniversary of the Mario Brothers, so I do believe there will be a segment dedicated to that. I do not believe there will be anything huge revealed, and we might get a compilation, very much of maybe they'll re-release 3D All-Stars or something, because they did recently re-trademark Mario Galaxy. So there is a chance they may do a re-release, possibly with Mario Galaxy 2 added to the list. So we're not entirely sure what is coming, but I do not believe we are getting a new Mario game, because we just got Donkey Kong Bonanza not too long ago, which was made by the Mario Odyssey team, and I do believe that still needs time to breathe. There's still a lot that can be done with Bonanza, such as adding new content, DLC, things of that sort, that can actually be very much a thing that can still be done with the game, because The game is actually solid. I have played through the game. I enjoyed my time with it. I am this close to 100%ing the game, which I was way easier than I thought it would be, but I don't hate it. I don't dislike it. If anything, it keeps me playing. I'm literally down to the point where all I have to do is grind for vanadium chips, which is, I don't know how I'm going to do that, but, you know, eventually we shall get there. I will grab the last bananas in the collection. I've already maxed out the fossils, and it just pretty much almost maxed out the skill tree. So I am very close to 100% in the game. It's hella fun, and I do believe they need to add more stuff to it, and I do believe that could be a DLC pack. There were a lot of unresolved things, specifically with Void Kong. Obviously, we need to put a pretty little bow on his story, because once he was out of there, we didn't hear from him again. Clearly, something had to have happened with him, so I do believe that is grounds for an additional DLC, or even a DLC where you can actually control other Kongs. You know, like I could see a DLC where he plays Diddy and Dixie, very much a la Donkey Kong Country 2. Like, I can definitely see them doing something like that. I don't know what it would entail or how you could do something like that, considering they're not as strong as Donkey Kong. They can't punch out terrain, but I do believe there is something to be said. You could probably do, like, make it purely exploration. Maybe even when you play as Diddy and Dixie, some of the holes where that you had to dig to find bananas, they can find alternative routes. Like, make it ingenious, you know? Like, okay, we've removed the punching through dirt mechanic. What can we do with Diddy and Dixie? Like, something like that. Like, I think that would be interesting. Maybe you have Rambi run through the dirt, you know? Like, something like that. Like, I'm confident you could do something with that. Those are the confirmed. Obviously, we have to talk about Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment. People are still waiting for a release date on that. Now, personally, not my cup of tea. While I think I would be into the Musou of it all, I just don't vibe. I like Zelda games, don't get me wrong. I do like The Legend of Zelda, but it's not something I'm going out of my way for, right? Like, I grew up, like, I think the last Zelda game I owned was Skyward Sword, and that one was wasn't the best, but, you know, it was it was gimmicky, and I did enjoy the gimmick, and I did like the story. I didn't finish it, but it was pretty good. But outside of beating Breath of the Wild, because a friend of mine lended me a copy at one point, I'm not really interested. Like, I don't know, like, I don't get the same devotion. Like, again, I don't hate The Legend of Zelda. Let me preface that. I don't hate it. I just personally, you know, like, that's not my bread and butter, you know? Like, I mean, you look at me, you kind of tell what my bread and butter is. I'm all about tokusatsu and military stuff, like shooters and stuff like that. But I also do have the soft spot for the platformer, the adventurer, the side scroller. I very much have a soft spot for those. But ultimately, I believe that we are getting something in regards to Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment. We'll be getting a release date. That is definitely still up in the air. So I think, out the top of my head, I do believe those are the only Nintendo games that are currently awaiting a release date. However, it should be noted that Fire Emblem, I believe it was, and Astral Chain were also re-copyrighted. So I don't know if that means we're getting an Astral Chain Switch 2 edition. I can't confirm anything, but I think that actually leads us into the next segment, the possibles. All right, possible games. Like I mentioned, Astral Chain Switch 2 edition. I do believe that is going to possibly be a thing, but again, we're only working on vague knowledge of a copyright, so we don't know what that is. Could also mean that Fire Emblem Engage is getting a Switch 2 edition, but again, we wouldn't know what that entails, though it is strange that those two were copyrighted very close to itself. And ultimately, I think it's possible, but again, it doesn't confirm anything. That just could mean they recopyrighted them both, because there could be a sequel coming later on down the line. So it could just be they wanted to keep the copyright fresh, wanted to keep it available, wanted to keep it in their hands, because they either have a project coming or the copyright was about to run out. But either way, I do want to mark those down as a possible. Now, this one is kind of wishful thinking, but also not, because there's a lot of buzz going around this. This is actually my personal lookout for for the end of the year. Fallout 4. Now, again, it's kind of an old game, 10 years old. 10 years old. This Fallout 4 is 10 years old, and that's crazy to say. But there has been rumblings and musings as of late that there has been movement on the Steam build side for Fallout 4, which all seems to be pointing towards a anniversary update for the game, or at the very, not only an anniversary update, but a possible anniversary edition, similar to how Skyrim was handled. Skyrim had an anniversary edition where they cleaned up the engine, they added creations, they added all this new stuff, and as well as all the DLCs included into one game, and they released that. Hell, that one even came out on Switch 1. So I do believe it's been 10 years this November that we got Fallout 4 on PC, on I believe Xbox 360 and PS4, I want to say. But I think it's time. With the anniversary edition coming out, that means that obviously they'll be coming to all consoles. They'll be coming to PS5. They'll come to Xbox Series XS, coming back to PC. And you have to do a Switch 2 edition. Like, there's no way around it. Like, Fallout 4 Anniversary Edition for Switch 2. Now, do I think it's possible? Possibly. As the title of this section states. But it is also kind of a little bit out there. Because, again, there's been no confirmation from anyone outside of the movement from the Steam builds, plus the video made by Juicehead in regards to that. So, while Juicehead, I do believe, is a very credible source, there is not enough there to go on. So, while it is very much possible, it is also kind of a shot out of left field. So I'm holding my cards very close to my chest into what this could entail. And hopefully, if it does mean, we will be soon going back to the Commonwealth, but this time taking it on the go. Because I do believe you can make a very strong case for Fallout 4 on Switch 2 as being like the ultimate car ride game when you don't want to talk to anyone. Just walk around the Commonwealth shooting people in the head. I do believe that is very much not a done deal, but definitely I'd say maybe give it 60-40 possibly on the probabilities of that, but we are optimistic. Outside of that, I do believe there's not been many other rumblings of any other possible Switch titles, so I think we can kind of get a little vague here. I do believe on top, if we're considering that possibly we're getting a Switch 2 edition of Astral Chain, that would lead me to believe we're probably getting about maybe 3 or 4 other Switch 2 edition games. Not necessarily all from Nintendo, but I do believe we are getting some Switch 2 edition games. What those games are, I cannot say for certain, but I do believe that there is going to be something of that sort. There's going to be something of that sort. Now, let's get into our final section here, the impossibles. In this section, we're going to talk about like very much things that have not been confirmed. This is just me throwing things out to the wind. For those of you who don't know, there's been a grassroots movement on social media, specifically on Twitter, about reviving Rumbleverse. If y'all remember Rumbleverse, the amazing wrestling-themed battle royale that only lived for a year before Epic Games pulled the plug, made by Iron Galaxy, that game was amazing. It was very much so one of, if not the quintessential best way to do a battle royale, because it challenged the norm of what a battle royale is. Gone were the days of finding the best gun, stocking up on like health potions and things like that, and then just sniping people from a distance. No, in this game you had to get up and personal and punch your opponent in the face. It was all about suplexes. It was all about getting the better finisher move. It was all about strategy, and even then you could still snipe people by diving off buildings. Like, it was the greatest battle royale that was ever made, and was the last battle royale I ever took an interest in. Unfortunately, the game was unceremoniously pulled off the plug by Epic Games because in their eyes it did not make much money. However, there's been a grassroots movement ever since called Rumbleverse Revival, and so far there have been petitions and everything. There's been grassroots movements. There have been actual reaching out to developers about talking to Iron Galaxy about bringing back Rumbleverse. If you go to GOG.com, you can actually put in a petition for GOG to bring it back from the dead, which is all we want. All we want is Rumbleverse to come back. Now, there hasn't been much movement. Obviously, Iron Galaxy isn't disclosing anything if they have any intention to bring the game back, but the movement is still there. This is my biggest self-desire, but also, but I'm going to put it out there because it's something that everyone wants. Rumbleverse to come back and a Switch 2 version. Now, that one might be a little bit of a stretch, but I do believe Rumbleverse's style, the cartoonish style of the game, has a place on Switch 2. It has a place on Nintendo Switch. So when the game was out, it was baffling that it could not be on Nintendo Switch because it fit the style of the console perfectly. So I do believe if Rumbleverse ever comes back, there is very much a case to be made for it to be on Switch 2. Speaking of massively popular online live service games, Marvel Rivals. Another shot in the dark. No confirmation. However, there was something interesting that happened on the last Marvel Rivals Dev Vision. Guangwang's confirming that Marvel Rivals will be coming to PS4. And that is important because if y'all remember, the Nintendo Switch 2 is more powerful than the PS4. More powerful. Not by much, but very much more powerful. So by that logic, it's a bizarre move. Why would you put a game on a console that is more underpowered than its already max level current existing product? And that leads me to believe that it's testing something. It leads me to believe that there is a possibility, maybe not this year, possibly next year, but Marvel Rivals has to come to Switch 2. It's a no-brainer at this point because Marvel Rivals has made numbers. It has made numbers for pretty much all the console users and especially the PC users. It's possibly the most consistently played 6v6 hero shooter online. It makes no sense to leave out the Switch players. So ultimately, I think there is a argument to be made for it to be on Switch 2. Will it be on this Direct though? Again, shot in the dark, no confirmation of sorts. But normally, if this is something, normally with Directs, you'll have Nintendo wanting to have devs, kind of keep it close to the heart. So they'll do like a specific announcement for the Nintendo Direct because to Nintendo, their Directs are kind of sacred. So I wouldn't be surprised if Guangwang was holding that to heart and then did a separate video where they announced Marvel Rivals will be coming to Switch 2. So I do not know if it will actually happen, but again, it's definitely a big wish list want for many a Switch 2 owner because Marvel Rivals is right now still the current hotness. And especially with the new season coming up, which I'm excited for because we're getting a freaking beefy woman Vanguard. Like, holy hell, holy fuck. Your boy likes what he likes. But moving on, I do believe there is a case to be made for a couple of other games to be coming to the Switch 2. But again, these are shots in the dark. There's been no rumors or confirmations on any of this. I'm just going by a gut feeling and by how the market trends. Because as y'all know, with this certain game coming to Xbox, the quote-unquote console wars no longer exist, even though those died out years ago, but I digress. But now that Helldivers 2 is on Xbox, there is a case to be made for it to come to Switch 2. There is a case to be made. Now, do I think they're going to do it? No, because I think Sony still has beef with Nintendo in some way, shape, or form. I can't confirm that. I don't know, but I mean, Sony has put out some games, but I think the big Sony game that we got was Lego Horizon Adventures, not Horizon itself. So it's okay, you threw us a bone, but not the bone we wanted, So I feel like there's still trepidation on Sony's part. So I don't know if we'll be ever getting Helldivers. It'd be great if we got Helldivers 2 on Switch 2. But I do believe that it's kind of a long shot. It's another long shot out in the middle of the dark. I don't think we'll be getting it, but I do believe that there is, again, a case to be made for it to be on the Switch 2, especially with the amount of consoles, the Switch 2s, that are out there. Looking at sales numbers, getting Helldivers 2 on the go on your Switch 2 would definitely be a massive boost to the player numbers. Because you got, at that point, it's pretty much, you got OG Helldivers on PS5, you got the ODSTs on Xbox Series X. Actually, is it? Yeah, Series X or X. And then you got the Federation Force on freaking Switch 2. So, like, yeah, you got literal, you got everywhere, like everyone coming together from all walks of life to come in and just continue to breathe life into the maniac whims of one man named Joel. But yeah, I do believe that you could definitely make a case for Helldivers 2 on Switch 2. And to a similar vein, I'm kind of go a little wishful thinking on my end, but also kind of like get everyone in here. Hoyoverse games. I personally would just like to see Zenless Zone Zero on Switch 2, but I think there can be a case to be made for all currently running Hoyoverse games like Honkai Star Rail and Genshin Impact. I do believe there are arguments to be made for those games. For the Hoyoverse, I guess you could call it trilogy, current active trilogy as a whole, to be brought onto the Switch 2. Me personally, though, I just feel like the way Zenless Zone is, I just would just take Zenless on Switch 2, because I just feel like the overall vibe of the game does suit it very much for the Switch 2, because I just feel like that would be the perfect form factor to enjoy Zenless. Now, again, I do play it on PC, and a lot of the games that I mentioned I do already play on PC, but me personally is like, I like to have that option that since I have a Switch 2, I'd like to have the option to be able to play it from the comfort, you know, of anywhere in my house. So, and then you can make the argument, what about a Steam Deck? A lot of these games aren't on Steam, so you can't really make that argument. But if you put it on the Switch, you know, and now we're talking something different, you know, like now you put it on the Switch 2, you get yourself some value there. Overall, those are the games I'm looking forward that are like impossible, but you know, not, well, I want to say impossible, but they're not totally impossible, but the probabilities of them being there are very slim. A couple of other things I do kind of want to, that I do believe that we will be seeing. There's definitely got to be some sort of DLC for Mario Kart World. Mario Kart World was a really good game, but was lacking in content, so hopefully they'll be pushing out a content update that I think will be addressing that. I just felt like that was more suited to be an aside than actually part of the possibles. But I do believe that a content update for Mario Kart World is needed. I do believe there will be, again, I mentioned before the Switch 2 editions, I do believe there will be about 4 or 5 of them. I do believe not all from Nintendo itself. And then, of course, we'll be genuinely seeing just, you know, some mainly ports. Farming games and RPGs are always a given. But I do believe that the stage is set for 60 minutes. I do believe there's going to be there's an argument to be made. I also want to add one more thing to the Impossibles. I know it's kind of near the end here. But considering the overlap of Mario Kart World and Sonic Cross Worlds, I mean, you could make an argument that Sonic can come to Mario Kart World lore-wise through Cross Worlds, and Mario can jump ship in the same way as well, you know? Something to think about. Something to think about. Question mark? Something to think about. Something to think about. Anyway, that's going to do it for my predictions. This guy, check in with me live on stream here on YouTube and also on the Twitch. As always, you can find me at the same name, at @Henshin, and we will be looking at the results live to see if any of my predictions come true or not, as well as seeing things I didn't talk about. We'll see what they have in store for us there on the show. So until then, guys, I hope you guys will enjoyed this video. I'm not going to give you the whole BS thing that other YouTubers do, but so I'm just going to say it like this. Thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed. I will see you in the next one, and remember, the future is in your hands. It's up to you to seize it. I'm out until the next video. Peace!